Hi there folks, it's Handmade by Shirley. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to come on and do this little card today. It's a little bit heat embossing, that's heat embossing. Some kind of white on white embossing folder. This time I'm going to use a slightly different embossing folder to this one. And yeah, inside I just did some more heat embossing in gold with the dragonflies just to make a pattern down one side. So I'm just going to show you how I made it. So let's get started. So this time I've already embossed, dry embossed with a snowy looking embossing folder. And this is what it was, and it's quite an old one, but I think it's from Crafts too, so I don't know if you can still get this one, but I'm sure you can get something similar. And I'm going to be using the black embossing powder from Papermania, and instead of gold this time I'm going to use some Stampendous one, which is sterling silver metallic. And I've got my tray. I found my tray. I was cleaning out my craft space and sort of rejigging it a bit. And I found this tray, which is very handy to have if you've got it. If you don't have it, continue to use a piece of paper underneath your project. I'll just get rid of that gold from this morning. I had some class ladies this morning, and that was one of the cards we made in the session. So I've got rid of that. So just always have a wee paintbrush as well to get rid of any extra embossing powder that you don't want, because we're going to be using vellum for part of it as well. So if there's any stray bits on the vellum, I can brush it away with that little paintbrush. I've got my embossing buddy, which is getting a bit past it, but I'm using it till the end. I've got my Versamark sticky glue, and I'm ready to start doing stuff. I've got some stamps which are from Stampin'Up. These are probably retired, but I do like these ones, Dragonfly Garden and Very Versailles, which I used in the first card. I used the dragonfly obviously, and I used this nice trailing leaf and the script and this sentiment on the front, and then obviously inside I did the dragonflies again, but I did it in gold embossing. So I thought we'd do something similar, perhaps maybe not exactly the same, but thanks also I meant to say to my new subscribers who have subscribed. I really do appreciate it as I'm trying to build up my channel. I will try and make a positive effort to come on with a video every week if I can, if not every couple of weeks. Yes, and I possibly will try and do a live at some point, just to even build up my followers as well. So let's get started. So it's white card and white, which I think is quite nice at the minute. And this card measures 6 by 6. And we have this embossed matte layer, which is 5.5 by 5.5, which in centimetres is 13.9, I think, squared, and the other base will be 14.9 or something, roughly. I'm not too good with my centimetres, but I say that's the sizes. Anyway, I'll put all the sizes in the description box, and all the things I've used in this video in the description box down below, and all my social media places. You can also follow me if you want to. So as I say, we're going to do something similar to this. So I'll pop that there on the side just to keep that in mind. So what I did first was I didn't adhere that because I wanted to wrap. So what I did I wrapped this round this card because I didn't want to really put glue on the front here. Excuse me. I've got a frog in my throat since COVID. I tend to get quite a raspy throat, so bear with me if my voice does kind of go. So yes, so sometimes when you adhere vellum onto a piece of paper, you don't want to see the glue, so you possibly could put a little bit of glue behind one of these pieces, because if you don't, you'll see the glue through it. So hence why I put this band around the front and then I just adhered it on the back, and you won't see it once it's popped it down. So right, so I'll pop the base card up the top just now, and I've got a little tiny square here, and it measures 3 by 3, and then I've got an A4 sheet. So excuse me, what I think I'm going to do is, well, I'll just keep it the same. I think I'll, excuse me, keep it the same really, I think. So what I did here was I had this A4 sheet and I just thought, right, that's enough. So I ripped, oh, that wasn't a good rip. So I ripped it along because I wanted a kind of, I didn't want a straight edge, I just wanted a kind of messy looking edge. And then I did that at the bottom as well, so it just gives a bit more interest. And then that is kind of going to go in the middle, and I'm going to pop it in the middle this time. I mean, you could have it on the side, you could have it further down the bottom, but I think I'm going to have it pop it on the middle this time. And then I've got this piece here, but I've also got a piece of paper. I'm just going to cut this off camera for a second. I've got a piece of white paper which roughly could be the same size as this, and it's a slightly different white. You can see sometimes in the whites that, you know, that's brilliant white, that's brilliant white, but this is a kind of more a creamy white, but that's okay, I don't mind that. And I might put a layer of the dragonfly underneath just so it's got something. So let's just get started. So I will put that away to the side just now because I don't want to get embossing powder on it. And I'm just going to get started with this bit. So I will do the dragonfly again. So it's the same old thing. What you need to do for your vellum, put that to the side at the minute as well. For your vellum, to make sure that you do not get any stray bits of powder sticking onto, or any other foreign bodies sticking onto your vellum, we use this little anti-static bag, and that just ensures, not always, but most times, ensures that we get nothing else sticking other than the stamped image to our vellum. So I'm going to actually take the, there's not much difference in these, but I'll take this one. I think this is the one I didn't have the last time. So have I got some blocks? I did have blocks, but I could have tidied them away yet. I've got some blocks down here. I'll just pop this one on to the back. So we then take the Versamark, which is a sticky ink, and we just pop that onto the back of our stamp, like that. Just make sure it's covered, and then we stamp that on. It doesn't matter where you stamp it because I'm going to be punching it out, and I don't know if you can see, but that is just go down slightly. That has stamped on, and you can just perhaps just see it there. Yep. So the next thing we want to do is our embossing powder. So we take this over to the tray. If you've got a piece of paper, that's just fine. as well. So I'm going to use a silver. So what I do now is I now put the silver onto there, and then this little tray catches all the powder nicely. And it does have a few bits, but that doesn't matter so much because I'm going to be punching this out. So I'll pop that to the side. I'll pop it back into my silver powder. I'll just make sure I've got all that out, because with mixing your powders you don't necessarily want silver in the black and vice versa. But if you're using the same colour, that's okay. So just put the lid on that as well, because I don't want to get any of the powder flying everywhere. And then I'm just going to put my heat tool on. So if you are not wanting to have a loud noise, turn your volume down. So what I do is I put my heat tool on at 1 and heat it up. So I heat it up for a few seconds, and you can leave it on the table. And I'm going to use tweezers to hold on to this. You could just use your fingers, but be very careful you don't burn them. And then I'm just going to put it at 2, and I'm going to start heat setting it. And you'll see it change, and the minute you see it change, move your heat tool over to the next piece. You can heat it from underneath as well, and it doesn't take very long at all to do that. And I'll just make sure I've got that bit at the bottom there, and make sure it's completely done, and that's it. And you just, excuse me, get that beautiful embossed oh, I've got excuse me, a tickle in my throat. So I've come to do this next piece. I'm just going to pop that there because and that's the bit I need. And I'll pop you back up because there we go. It just gives me a wee bit more room. Pop that there. So we've now got this piece, which is going to go round. Just make sure that's away just now. This piece is going to go around the centre of my card, and I'm just going to mark out roughly where I'm going to bend it round. So I'm just putting it up the middle and then bending over the back and then creasing the line where I want it to go round the back, and that just gives me a guide where I'm stamping on, because obviously I'm not going to stamp on here because that bit's going to be hidden. I'm not going to see that. So in between these two fold lines is where I want to stamp. So it's the same kind of thing. So what you could do, the last one I had, what I could do even, is I put some of the other stamps from the other stamp set. But I mean, I could do something totally different this time. And I think what I might do, now I've got that, so it's silver, so I might do this bit in black because I've used the silver because I had the two colours out. So I'm thinking I might just do a bit of the top of this sort of, I'd say this is like sort of like coneflowers, echinacea type flowers, and I might just do the top half of these in it, and I might do a few of the fireflies. So occasionally, I don't always put my stamps on blocks, I'll just use them in my hand. But please, if you're new to this in any way, just do use your own way. I just sometimes find it's sometimes quite easy to do it this way, but I mean, I have been paper crafting for a very long time now, so just do what you find easy, but you can obviously do it that way as well. So just get rid of that now because I don't want to have that in there. I did have this, I don't know why I'm using that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Versamark again, but I'm just going to pop a small amount at the top because it's only the top of this stamp that I want to go down on the vellum. So bring it back into camera shot. Oh, and it is curling up because I've put it on to a kind of wet surface, but that's okay because I can just pop that over. So I've inked that up and I'm just going to pop that down like that. And you can just see that there, I think, if you look. You should be able to see that, yep. And then I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it slightly further down this time. Yep. And I think I'll do it once more over here, maybe the side. Yep. There we go. So that's that. And then I was going to add in these fireflies in the middle, and I will put that onto a block when I find a block. Here we go, we've got the dragonfly one we had. So, and then I'm just going to pop the stamp to the Versamark, and then in here on a slight angle. It doesn't have to fill up the whole bit, and then I've got that. And then I think I do want to put a bit of a wording. So let's see something that might fit in here. So we've got one that would fit in here on this particular stamp set, which says "You are an inspiration," and I am going to put that in a block as well because it's quite a small stamp. So it's just going to go in here. And then we can heat emboss that as well. So okay, and then bring this back over because you need that again. Try and stay in camera shot, surely. And I'm going to use this time, I think I'll use the black. Same thing. Go. Just go. Now, there's a few bits here, and this is what I was talking about. So you can give it a little bit of a flick as well. But there are a few bits here and there which we don't want to heat emboss. So if you didn't take them off with a little brush and just left them, these marks would stay on and cook just like the bits you do want to stay on. So just take this away just now, and we'll just get rid of all these wee bits we don't want. So don't want that bit, don't really want that bit or that bit. That bit. So that's why it's always quite good to just always have a little brush handy beside your embossing, heat embossing stuff, and then you can do that with the brush. And it just gets rid of all the wee stray bits of powder. And you can just give that a wee flick again. Still a bit there. I don't want. Oh, this brush seems to be falling off. So let's just see if that's everything. There's still a few stray wee bits in here that I really don't want. So just take your time if you do it this particular thing. Just take your time to get rid of all these extra bits that you don't want. I think that's fine now. So I just want to wipe this down because I can feel the grittiness of the powder. And then we want to put our powder back in to our perspective box as well, box tub even. There we go. Just tidy that all away before you bring out the heat tool, because if you don't, disaster may strike and embossing powder will be going everywhere. Right, so using the tweezers, as I say, you don't have to use tweezers, but sometimes it's quite good if you're just starting out to do this type of technique. So we are just going to heat set that. So I'm just going to fold it. I'm not going to use the tweezers, I'm just going to use my fingers this time. So let's carry on. So heat gun on, and let's see what we can do here. It'll turn really nice. So yeah, you can see that just changing. And don't wave your heat tool about. Just try and follow the, as it heats, follow it round to the next area. Because I think sometimes people waft the heat gun about and it's not really getting to the bits that need to get heat set, if you see what I mean. So yeah, once you've kind of followed it round and it's shining, I always think when it shines, that's it, heat set, and you can see yeah, I think that's it done. And then bring all your stuff back into play. So there's the base, and there's my embossed piece, and the piece that I had said I was going to pop round, so that's what it's going to look like. And there are a few stray bits actually of spots of extra, but you know, you can't rub that off now. That's what I was saying, you have to get rid of it. So I think that's pretty nice. So all we really need to do is stick this on first. So I've already wrapped it around. I already had the creases in place where I want it to be wrapped around the back of the card. So simply just use some wet glue and pop those down like that, and the same on the other side. Once you've got it in the place that you want it to be, just if you want it tighter, just pull it a bit tighter like that, and that's basically where I want it to be. With wet glue you can bring it down slightly, but I'm fine with that. Decide if you're having it this fold, which the name escapes me, or if you're having it that way. I think I'm going to do it this way for a wee change, and then just pop that down with wet glue. You could add foam pads just to lift it up slightly. Excuse me. Just popping some glue all the way around like that, and then popping it on with a bit of a border round, which, let's see if we can get this a bit straightish. Oh, needs to go over that way very slightly. Yep, I think that's fine for me. And then this part here, I want to do, I've got a punch that goes along with this, which is the Stampin' Up one. I think they're probably retired, but I'm not entirely sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this. Actually, I might need to cut it a bit because it happened when I did it in class. So pop that into the punch. You're using the bigger dragonfly, if you can get it in, she says. I could be cutting it out by hand. No, there's a will, there's a way. So just kind of making sure that's in place. And when you're happy, if you're using this or whatever, I just grab it and I then cut it, and that gives me my dragonfly. You also got a little extra one which I'm not going to use, and take the excess vellum out. That's fine. And then I'm also going to cut out a piece which I'm going to lay behind it, I think, because I think it might look better. And that's it. You get the same wee one, if I can get the wee one out as well, which I suppose I might use on some other project, but certainly not for this one. And then you could lay that on the back as an extra support. I could do that. Let me see. So bring that into play. I thought I might just pop that here, and I might bring the vellum wings up. So I'm just going to see if it's better on that side, or if it might be better on this side. Excuse me again. Or let's see, let's have a look at some options. We could have it, or we could have it. We could have it there. I'm just trying to see if that looks okay. Or would we get it further down? Let's just, what I'll do is I'll pop that on with some wet glue. I'll not pop all the wings down, I'll just leave a bit. I'm going to pop that just on there, like that, and then I'll pop the vellum. So the one that's vellum, I'm just going to, vellum down the whole body down, and just very starts of these wings. And that just gives it a wee bit of a base to go on as well. And then you can pull these wings up a bit to give it a bit more of a 3D effect. And then all I really want to do is put a few of the gems on, and then that'll be me. So I've got some nice gems here. Don't have it that far up, because just so that it's moving up slightly. And I'll just get my pokey tool here, and let me see, I think I'll pop some off these ones on, these very small, tiny ones, just to finish off. So bring that one back into play as well. And I'm just going to finish off with some of these tiny little gems. So I'm just going to put a couple on the vellum. And these are toty. They're toty. Very toty. Oh golly, they're so small. I'll put one there as well. And I think that's me. So that was just how to do a embossed, more or less white on white, with a little bit of embossing, heat embossing and dry embossing. And I hope you have enjoyed watching, and I hope that you will continue to watch my channel for new videos and new ideas that are coming on. And I really do appreciate all my subscribers, new and old, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.